Right, hey you guys, it is TsubakiSwagg and I'm coming to you with my long overdue review of Mekaku City Actors, Episode 7, Konaha State of the World. Okay, so I know I'm really late because I didn't realize that Mekaku City Actors comes out on Saturdays, so yeah, I'll be keeping up with that after this week. But pretty much, this episode, it explained a lot of stuff for me because I had so many questions before this episode, and then watching this episode explained everything that I wanted to know. So thank you for doing this for me. Pretty much there are quite a few questions that are answered. First is where Ine comes from, because as we all knew, Takane's handle was Ine, and then out of nowhere, well, first we found out about Ine before we even knew about Takane. And pretty much, long story short, the day that Haruka had a stroke and Takane pretty much didn't realize that it was happening, and she left him there without realizing that he was dying, was the day that she died as well. So on that day when she died, she pretty much went into this world and was turned into pretty much a computer program. And this is when she was introduced back to Shintaro, which I think she actually knew about this, because she said she didn't know what happened between the time that she died and the time that she showed up in Shintaro's computer life. So, but she pretty much went there because she wanted to keep her promise, not necessarily to herself, but to Ayano, which was when Ayano pretty much were her last, these were her last words to Takane, was that Shintaro needed a girl who was just as self-centered, if not more self-centered and willful than he was, that would push him, knock him out of his comfort zone, which is what Takane became. And that was why she called him Master, because if you remember in, I think it was 2 or 3 episodes ago, when they were doing the shooting game, well, it was last episode actually, when they were doing the shooting game, and she told Shintaro that if he won, that she would call him Master and do whatever he said. So that's where that came from. But pretty much during that time, that was pretty much the last time she saw Ayano, and she didn't know that Haruka had died. And pretty much it seems like Haruka's subconscious went into Kano, and Kano and Kiddo and Mary and Seto and everybody who have these eye abilities, they were previously somebody else, but when they died and went into another body, they got those abilities. I don't know how to explain that. But pretty much, Kano was talking to Ine after he was after they were at Ayano's grave, and Kano pretty much tells Ine all of this, and he reveals himself as Haruka, and pretty much tells her that she was trying to forget him, and that wasn't even the case. She was just trying not to get hurt anymore, but she didn't even know that the day that Ayano died and Shintaro locked himself in his room for those 2 years was also the day that Haruka died, and she didn't know this. And when Kano told her this, she kind of broke down. And then we also find out that Konaha, whom is Haruka's handle, that was what he became, because that day that he had that stroke, he died as well, as we all know. And when he went to the same place that Ine went to, well, Takane went to, but he didn't want to be in that body. So pretty much his, all of his traits and everything went into the body of Konaha, which was the man, well, the boy that is that has on the all white with the white hair and headphones and all that good stuff. That is Haruka, but he doesn't have his memories, but he has all his traits. So pretty much this episode was very mind-boggling, just thinking about it. it answered every question that I had, which is great, but it was a lot to grasp at one time. But that was pretty much all that happened in this episode, was us finding out the backstories on like Kiddo, and finding out that Ayano was their leader, and that Shintaro and Aine already knew Ayano, and there's just a lot of stuff to grasp at one time. But this episode was awesome, and I appreciate them making this episode, because for people who don't listen to the songs, it was very confusing, the fact that they switched characters like that. So I'm grateful that they made this episode and explained everything. But yes, so for those of you who don't listen to the songs, I would love to hear what you guys think is going to be happening within the next couple of episodes. But I think I'm going to cut this one short, or I will keep rambling. But as always, please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. And this is TsubakiSwagg saying adios.